What up, guys? Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Not feeling it? Okay. Happy hump day, you guys. I have a very special video for you all. Um, wow. Let's try that again. I have a special video for you guys, particularly for any of you inspiring Etsy sellers. Or maybe you're interested in having an Etsy store, or maybe you do have an Etsy store and you just like some little tips. Here are my top 10 tips that's helped me as being an Etsy seller. And I hope that it'll... Okay, so I'm by no means an expert. These are just the tips that's helped for me since I've had an Etsy store. I started my Etsy store back in August of this year. So it's been about 5 months since I had my... Why'd I go like this? It's been like 5 months since I had my Etsy store. So, and I've seen a lot of good success from it so far. So, I just want to share my tips with you guys, and hopefully they would help you in the process. Okay, these tips are by no means in any chronological order. They're just what helped me. Yeah, like I said. Okay, Naomi, shut up and give them the tips. My first tip would have to be to definitely be original. I find that a lot of people, and this is just with anything in the world, people are trying to be a prototype of somebody else, and they're trying to be like somebody else. I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking around on Etsy, looking for inspiration, and getting inspired from what other people are having on their sites, but one of the main things that sets you apart on Etsy is just to be original. Look into yourself and find your own specific style. If you're selling vintage items, I don't really know if this would apply to you, but if you're into the handmade items, make sure you're original. And yeah, just don't be afraid to be unique. And what you might think people might not like, that it's part of your style, it might actually be a good seller. A lot of things that I've sold on Etsy that I just like had fun making, but I didn't really think it would sell, it actually did sell pretty well. So don't ever second guess your abilities and your imagination and just your authenticity as the overall part of yourself. Number 2, and this is something I need to work on as well, is have quality photos. This is very, very important because Etsy is a visual website. So yeah, if your picture looks a little bit, most likely people are just going to scroll past it. So I don't have a high-def digital camera right now. Right now I just use my iPhone for everything, including my tutorials. But I would recommend, or at least if you have iPhone, get an editing app like I have, and to edit photos and stuff like that, adjust the lighting, or take photos in natural lighting. I started doing that. Take a lot of my photos outdoors, or I take it in my living room and open up my blinds and make sure it has enough natural light shining through, just so you can get a nice crisp view of the item and have a nice crisp color of it. Especially with jewelry, I think the natural lighting just like complements it so well. So definitely remember that you need very good photos. Because you gotta think of it like this: the buyer can't feel your item, can't see your item in person. So they need to feel like, as they're looking through your site, that they can actually reach out and touch it. That, oh yeah, they can see the texture of the fabric if possible. They can see the detail if it's like a print, or to see like if it's like a nice stone on jewelry, how the stone reflects. And it's just, you need to be able to wow the buyer through your pictures. Just think of it like that. And think of yourself as a buyer as well. If you were the buyer, would you buy this item depending on the picture? If you're kind of iffy about it, then you need to reconsider the way your photography is. My third tip is not to overprice. Now, this might be self-explanatory, but this is very important. And my fourth tip, which ties in kind of to the third tip, is not to underprice. And this is something that I've learned, that actually underpricing can actually hurt you. You might think that it might help you, but people might actually scroll past it because they're kind of doubting whether the item has good quality because it's so cheap. And also, you want to make sure that you're not selling yourself short. You want to make sure you put in the hours and the effort that you put into the item. You have to pretty much give yourself credit for how your creativity and how much work you're putting into the item. Handmade items are hard to come by, and you're entitled to... The rule of thumb I like to go by, which I just started doing, is double the cost of the products involved to make the item. And yeah, so that includes the labor and everything like that. That's a good way for me to make a profit. That way, with shipping and everything like that, it just accommodates for that. Because I have flat rate shipping, And a lot of times the shipping will be a little bit more than my flat rate price, but I usually make up for that, considering the fact that the way I do my profit, or raise the price of my items. Or not raise the price of my items, but price my items. So yeah, that's very important. Make sure you don't underprice your items. My fifth tip is to optimize social media. This is very important because we live in a media world, if you don't know this already, and it's the best way to get yourself known and get yourself out there. You gotta think, there's hundreds, maybe more than 100, maybe it's millions of people on Etsy. So you really have to set yourself apart. You really have to put in the work. You can't just start an Etsy site and then, okay, there you go. No, you might be able to get a few sales here and there, but if you want consistent money, if you want to make this into a business, you're going to have to put in the work and view it as a business. Put in the work as a business. Make sure you're putting in new items into your store every day, which is actually my sixth tip. Make sure that I like to put a new item in my shop at least every week. Some people, or every other day I try to. Some people that might be a little bit too much, especially if you're like an artist and paintings take a little while to make. So at least every week. That way you're not getting lost into the feed that people are constantly seeing, that you're coming up with new stuff, and people that are following you can favorite your items, and you just want to make yourself known. You don't want to get like lost into the I don't know, the media or the world of Etsy shops. I just made up a thing. But yeah, you just want to get yourself known and out there. My seventh tip is not to use social media too much. Now, social media is a great tool, but it also, I don't believe you should rely solely on it. Social media is basically meant for you to kind of have like a connection with your people that you're friends with. I mean, it is meant for marketing purposes as well, but it's very important that you establish that relationship and an intimate connection with people that you're friends with on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, people that are following you. I found that if you keep, like when I started on Twitter, and I would just post like things from Etsy all the time, and I didn't get as much followers. And then once I started having a balance between posting stuff on Twitter and then like, I don't know, just kind of like sharing my life as a person, being open with people, being open with my followers, posting funny pictures, just being myself, showing my personality through Twitter. People like that. People like to see you more than just a seller. So it is good to use social media, but I also would optimize the search engine ads. Etsy has a few of those, and you can actually purchase additional ones. I have one. I have a daily budget on it, and what it just does is it shows your ads throughout Google. So someone types in a search under your tags, which is why tags are very important. But people put a search, and if one of your tags are within that search, your item will pop up, and you, depending on how much of a budget you pay, it shows your items more. There's more impressions throughout Google. And you know, everybody goes on Google to look for everything. So this is very important for you to get known. So yeah, seventh tip overall, make sure that it's okay to use social media, but don't like solely rely on social media. Kind of examine your options out there. There's so many different ways to get exposure. My eighth tip is word of mouth. I mean, this works from day one, even before the computer world got like this. You want to make sure you're telling everyone about your Etsy shop. Any opportunity that you can get to wow, I just any opportunity that you can get to talk about your Etsy shop, just make sure you take that opportunity. I often wear things that I made, and then people compliment them like, yeah, I have an Etsy store. Check it out at blah 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 blah. So that's an easy way to get like promotion, word of mouth. My ninth tip is to make sure that you optimize your tags. This is very, very critical. Make sure that you're using all of your tags, because, like I said, under a certain search, there are like thousands and thousands of items that fall within that search. So if you're not optimizing your search, people are going to look through pages, like say you put red sweater, and people are going to look for under red sweater, and there's going to be probably 50,000, maybe more, 50,000 red sweaters, and you might be on page 235. And most likely after like the 10th page, they're not going to keep going through every single page to find a red sweater. So what your goal is to make sure that you absolutely use all of your tags. That way you have a higher probability of getting found within that Etsy feed and under the Etsy search. It's all about wordplay, making sure that you think of, like I said this before and I'll say it again, think of yourself as the buyer. Think of yourself as the customer. What would the customer type in to look for your item? What would they say in order to find your item? And finally, you ready for this? My 10th tip, and I think this is always one of my tips for all my tips videos, is have fun. I mean, obviously it is a business, but you have to make sure that you're enjoying what you do. If you ever get to a point where you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like it's just becoming a chore, just kind of step back and reevaluate everything that you've been doing, reevaluate these tips and make sure you're doing everything properly, and maybe even like, I don't know, change your approach on things. You should never get to the point where it's feeling like a dead-end job, because no one wants that. That might be the whole reason you're doing Etsy, to get out of your dead-end job. I also have a bonus tip for you guys. Of course, I gotta have a bonus tip for you guys. I would recommend, now Etsy is great, don't get me wrong. Etsy is a great resource. It's great to make money, it's great to get your name out there, great for starting a business, but you have to remember that the Etsy platform does not belong to you. You are kind of like one of the vendors within the Etsy store. But you're one of the vendors within the Etsy store. Franchise, there you go, that sounds better. So, you don't specifically own that shop. You're just like, well, you do own the shop, but if you get, it's kind of like eBay. It's not really like your name. You don't really like own it. Etsy is like, really owns it. You just like kind of renting it out, if that makes any sense. So what I would recommend is within the future, or whenever you're ready, I would recommend starting your own website. Slowly wean yourself into it, which is what I recently started, extravagancedesigns.com. I have a few items in my online store there as well, but I would definitely recommend that, just to have that, like the old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's good to have like a bigger plan. Like it's good to want to like progress beyond like Etsy. I mean, Etsy is really wonderful and is really great, but if you're really thinking about a business as a long-term thing, and even getting further as far as like I design clothes, but I'm thinking about getting beyond like just designing clothes and getting into manufacturing side of it, and actually getting into the marketing and production side of it, and having a factory or organization to produce my own clothes, and I would just design them instead of just me making them manually. That's my I'll say my 5-year goal, 10-year goal. So it's always good to have like an overview and kind of like think years down the road what you think of your intentions of Etsy. Like, do you just want to make a few extra bucks here and there, or do you want to really make this into a career and like make a substantial amount of money and to live off of this? Now, if that's what you have in mind, I would recommend that you would invest in having your own site. There's plenty free website platforms out there. I specifically use yola.com. I'll put the link in the description box for you guys. It's a great site, and it's pretty affordable. There's different like packages. I get the gold package just because I just wanted the gold package. You don't have to get that though. There's different packages. It's pretty affordable, and they let you choose whatever website name you want. And also, I would recommend, if you guys are specifically within the designing side, fashion designing side, is purchasing a logo. And I went to the site called createyourlogos.com. I'll put the link in the description box below as well. And they're really, really great. Their design team is very, very talented. And these are just things you want to do. I mean, not right away. I mean, you want to get established with Etsy. This is like years down the road as you're making consistent money and you're thinking about moving up to the next level. Because also, in case anything ever happened with your Etsy shop, or they close your shop down, because that's happened to some people. They close your shop down for whatever reason. So you just want to make sure that you absolutely have like a backup plan, so to speak. And Etsy is a great resource, but if you want to really make some money, there are ways that you could move to the next level, like I said. And I would recommend starting your own site, starting your own free website, your own blog page, and this is something that's of your own. And now I know some people that just keep their Etsy shop and keep their own website, and they just keep it forever. But Etsy's kind of like a way for them to promote their shop as well. They'll put it down, hey, check out my site. You could find these items on extravagancedesigns.com or something like that. That's what I would do. So this is a long video. Oh my gosh. But those are my 10 bonus 1 tip, 11 tips, I should say, I don't know, top tips on how to have a successful Etsy shop. I hope these were very helpful for you guys. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. I have some great stuff for you guys. Make sure you subscribe. And as always, stay blessed and stay encouraged. Bye.